All right, let's get started on this. So this is a basic 12 by 12 kitchen with an island. We've got a wood grain laminate below and white shaker painted upper and tall cabinets. So we'll go through a basic order entry process here, and this should give you a good kind of overview of how the system works and how easy it is to enter a kitchen like this. We'll get started by entering the cabinetry first, and then we'll follow up with the panels and fillers later. I like starting in the left corner and working my way clockwise around the room, and then I'll do the island after. However, as these are two materials, we're going to make use of two different folders here. I do have a video explaining how the folders work, which I'll link in the description below. For now, we will get started on the order, starting with the sink cabinet. We'll do the perimeter here, the base perimeter, the island, and then we'll make a new folder and do the tall cabinets, the uppers. Okay, so to begin here, I'm going to rename this folder Kitchen Base and Island. Okay, I'll go down here to the elevation views we have. We'll start with a sink cabinet, 36 wide, 24 deep. At any point, if you're confused about what parameters do, I can show you here. That's a full height door. We also have options for a false front. The full height door here, and we'll just do an open. If you're ever confused about what these parameters do, a lot of them have, if not the majority have, help files built right into the system. So if you have a question, one of the common questions we have is, does the depth of the cabinet include the door? It does not, but in order to figure that out, we can also click here. And that's going to open up a help file, which explains all the different parameters and what that single attribute actually means. So that's very helpful. We'll leave it at our standard 34.5 height and a 24-inch deep. And the sink cabinet here was 36. So I'm typing. You don't have to scroll through these drop downs. I'm actually typing on the number pad on my keyboard. If you wanted, for example, 36 3/4, I would actually go in here and type 37, and then that's going to display all of the options for 36. So that's just a little tip and trick there. I'm going to select my door hinging. That's going to be a pair of doors, and then the price will automatically generate. Again, I'm not going to worry about construction materials and door styles just yet. We will circle back to that at the second half of this video. Okay, so that's my cabinet there. Next is an 18-inch set stack of drawers. So we'll go down here to base cabinets, drawer only. So in here, all of the items here in green are items that we can actually control the height of. This is really useful if you're ever trying to match an existing cabinetry, or you just have a particular client or designer who wants a specific height up front. The vast majority of what we do is usually this 3-drawer stack. So that's a 6-inch top drawer and 2 equal drawers below, or a 3 equal drawer. In this case, I'm going to select this one. My width here, I'm going to again type in 18, and that is going to price it up for me. Next, we have a Lazy Susan corner, 36 by 36. So we'll go in here and we'll go to base cabinets, 90-degree corner cabinet. And we have a couple of different options here. We have, if you want to provide your own hardware, you could order just a base open cabinet, or you could do a 1-shelf, 2-shelf, and then we have 3 options for different Lazy Susan components. So Lazy Susan with a plastic tray, the metal tray, and then a Super Susan, which is made of plywood. And that looks really great with a pre-finished plywood interior cabinet. I'm going to go middle of the range here and select our metal tray option. I'm going to just confirm, so that's hinged on the left. So we'll go hinge left here. Now the width and the depth here are a little bit different because this is the corner cabinet. If you need a frame of reference here, up in the pictures, we do have explanations of what those actually mean. So you can actually order a cabinet that's not symmetrical if you need. Also for the base left end and the base right end return, that refers to these returns right here. So the cabinet's adjacent to the corner cabinet. You want to make sure that the return depth matches, or the right end depth matches the cabinet adjacent. Again, this is all parametric and completely controlled by the customer. So you can really order exactly what you need in any situation. All right. Next we have 2 3-drawer cabinets. So I can also enter notes in here, any comments, any cabinet numbers I need. So if my plans had cabinet numbers like this would be number 14. I can enter that information right here. And then that information is going to appear on the label when you actually receive your order. So I can either add another cabinet by going here and adding, or what I can do is I can go back up here because we already have this cabinet in place. And I can either copy this completely, and that'll copy the size information here, or I can select Add Row, which is going to give me a option to change the size, but still keep the same parameters up here. So this is kind of like the parent object, and then, or the parent parameters, and then these are the specific children cabinets within inside that object. So I'm looking for 20 and a quarter. I'm going to type in 21, which is going to display all of my options here. So 20 and a quarter, and there are 2 of those, 15 and 16. So we'll say quantity 2, and then I can say 15/16. Perfect. Okay, so before we do the island, I'm just going to quickly save here. It says, warnings in the order. This page is displaying important information that we need to review. So I'm going to hit review. And what I'm looking for is right here. So please note, pricing includes Lazy Susan hardware with 2 metal trays. So that note is just reminding you, hey, you don't have to order a tray separately. It's already part of the unit. That's also helpful for things you might miss, like when you're doing blind corners, it's going to tell you, don't forget to order the filler that's adjacent to the blind panel, stuff like that. So I know it's a little bit confusing when the window pops up, but the reminders are there to really help you make sure you capture everything that you need. So we'll save it again. And what I'm looking for is the green save button that says order changes saved. And then right there. So now that order is saved and up to date. So next we're going to look at the island cabinets, which are right here. So I've got 2 3-drawer cabinets and some panels going around. This panel here is split because it's wider than 48 inches, which is the maximum width for a vertical grain panel. Okay, so we're going to enter these 2 cabinets, and then we'll start going anti-clockwise back around the room, checking to make sure that we have all of our panels and fillers. So these are 29 and a quarter by the same 34 and a half. Okay, I'm going to add a new object here. Same thing. Type in 30, and I've got 29 and a quarter, and I need 2 of those. I'll just double check that I have quantity 2 up here for next to the stove. The other useful thing that I like to do sometimes, and this helps us out when we're looking at your order if you have any questions, is I'll actually write the location of the cabinet in reference to the appliances or the sink. So this would be called like left/right. And then again, the cabinet number and that comment are going to appear on the cabinet label. So for your install team, when they're looking, what are all these cabinets? On the back of the label, it'll actually say exactly where it goes. So we can quickly go and do that. So this would be right of sink. Lazy Susan, kind of obvious. And then, because it's just going in the corner, this one would be island cabinets. Okay, so that's, if we scroll back up here, so that's the base cabinets here and the island. Next, we're going to add for the panels on the island and the toe kicks. So down here at the bottom of the order, I will select panels and fillers, panels, and I'll do a back of the island first. So I'll do a bar back panel, And looking at our island drawings again, this needs to be 29.25 by the full height. Now, when you're ordering panels, you want to think about the scribing and the site conditions. So we don't add any extra scribing material. So you will want to do that here in the system yourself. So if the floor or the walls are really, really out of level and out of square, just order the panel a couple inches bigger, and then you have plenty of room to cut it on site to what you need. The other cool thing, all of our panels and fillers are edge taped all 4 sides. So you don't really need to worry about is this edge on the top going to be seen or not. When you order from us, all panels are taped all edges, and same when they're painted, they're taped all edges. And that allows you to flip and rotate and get exactly what you need on site. So that was 29.25 across the grain. So that's 30, 29.25. And then for the height or the length, which is with the grain, because we're going vertical grain in this, I'm going to just be bold and order it at 36. That means I have an 1.5 inches to potentially cut off the bottom, but that's going to be just fine for what we need. And there are 2 of these, and they are items 31 and 32. So cabinet 31/32, and here I'll write island back panels. Okay, now we've got to do the ends of the island. So I'm going to go select panels again, base panel. My width across the grain is going to be this dimension here going across. Now what I'm going to need to take into account is the depth of the cabinet, which would be 24 inches, plus my 3/4 back panel, so that would be 24.75, plus a 7/8, or call it 1 inch on the front, which will cover the door and the bumper. So I'm actually going to order my panel at 25.75. Okay, so 26, we'll put that down to, that'll give me about 1/8 of an inch play in the front if I need to bump the drawer front in or out, and a little bit on the back so that the if there's any shimming required, will be the side panel will always be a little bit proud of the back panel, which is probably what you want. Okay, and I need 2 of those, and they are going to be, scrolling back down here, items 27 and 30. 27/30. And I'm going to call this island side panels. Perfect. I'm going to save this again. And there we have order changes saved. Okay, so what we've done is we've done the base cabinets and the island. Next, we're going to start on the white painted perimeter. But for that, I'm going to make a new room. So I'm going to just collapse this right now, and I'm going to go new folder, and this is going to be called kitchen tall and wall cabinets, and I'll open that up, and now I can start adding this components in here. Okay, so the first item here is our big pantry here. It's 28.5 by the total here is 96 to the ceiling minus a 6-inch ceiling filler. So that cabinet's going to be 90 inches tall by 28.5 wide. When I go in here, I'm going to select standard. And the first question the system is going to ask is, how many rollouts would you like? How many interior drawers would you like? So if we look here, I've got 3 interior drawers, interior rollouts. So 3. Next, it's going to ask, how many shelves would you like above? So we'll just go back here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves. So I'm looking for this one, a 3 rollout, 4 adjustable shelf. The width is going to be 29.5, and the height will be 90 inches. The door hinging will be a pair of doors. And there we go. You can also add additional shelves. So that's useful if you have interior pucklight shelves, or simply You have like a cubby situation or wine shelf situation where I think the maximum shelf we offer at standard is 5 shelves. But say you wanted 7 shelves, you could just add another 2 or 3 or 4 shelves. They're not going to appear on the drawings, but they will appear as part of the cut list. So it just changes the quantity of the shelves that are actually cut. Okay, so that's this. Now just to double check here, we can see this detail that the countertop is actually butting into this adjacent cabinet. So this cabinet is actually a little bit deeper, 26 inches. So what we can go in here is change this to 26. And that's going to allow us a standard countertop depth. When you have your overhang and your door and everything, the standard countertop depth is around 25.5. So that means that the end panel next to the fridge and next to the pantry, they're going to be a little bit deeper. And I personally like that detail because you don't get this weird little stone piece bumping out from your cabinetry and catching people as they walk by. So I like to make my pantries and my stuff adjacent to stone countertops a little bit deeper. Okay, next we need to do some upper cabinets. So we've got a 1 door here, we've got a 1 door and then a blind corner here. So we'll start here with this number 8. Oh, I forgot to add the number 2 label as well. So let's do that at the same time. So this is cabinet 2. There's only 1 pantry, so I probably won't write a comment there. Next, we'll look at wall cabinets. So I need 2 shelves in these cabinets, and they are 36 inches high. So wall cabinets, standard. I need a 2 adjustable shelf. The height is going to be 36. It's going to be standard 12-inch depth. It's going to be hinged left. I'll just go back here and double check. It's going to be 18 inches wide. There we go, 18 inches. I'll check the cabinet number. That's going to be 8. And cabinet 8. Perfect. There we go. Next, we could also include a note here for this cabinet, because this 18 and 18, they're the same. So what we could do, and they're both hinged on the left, we could just add a quantity of 2 here, or we could go in and add a row or copy this one here. We could copy this, and that's going to give us an exact copy. This one is left of window, and this one is right of window. Oh, but the downfall of doing that is I only have 1 cabinet number. Okay, never mind. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to add a row here. And then I can enter I'll have to re-enter my information here. Hinge left, cabinet number probably 9. I'll double check that. And then this is going to be right of window. Oh, I was way off there. Cabinet 12. Okay, perfect. Now we've got a blind corner, 36 inches high by 30 inches wide. So upper cabinets here, wall cabinets. Blind corner is over here. I need a blind right, so the blind panel is on the right side. And I think that has 2 shelves. Upper height here will change to 36 to match the others. The width, I believe, is 30. We drew this up as like a best case scenario. If your wall if you know your wall is super out of square, it's not 90 degrees, I might even add a little gap back here, say 3/4 of an inch. That way your cabinetry doesn't have to be perfectly square when it goes into each other. Basically, you don't really want to have a corner cabinet that's butting directly against the wall that's theoretically 90-degree corner, because it usually never is. In fact, the Lazy Susan cabinet, the back is slightly inset, so there's actually a 3/4 gap between the wall and the back of the cabinet for exactly that purpose. All right. Okay, so one of the things we can change here in the blind cabinet is the width of the door. So if we have a 30-inch cabinet and we want the blind panel to be 14.5, if we do the math here, that's I think about a 15.5-inch door. So we can go here and select 15.5. And that'll mean that our door in this opening here, the panel will stick out 14.5, which will have the correct spacing for the adjacent filler. So there's a lot of different options here under Construction tab. I'm not going to go through these all right now. We'll be posting separate videos for each of these things shortly. So that's my blind corner done. What's next? We're onto the adjacent wall here. So we've got 3 more single door cabinets here. So what I can do is I'm just going to enter them down here. Oh, sorry. Once again, I forgot to add the cabinet number here, which is going to be cabinet 13. This is also drawn incorrectly. Your blind panel is always going to be flat slab. It's not going to be shaker as it is drawn here. Okay, so that's cabinet 13. Perfect. All right, moving on. We've got some cabinets on the adjacent wall, 21 3/4 and 2 at 20 1/4. So my width here, oops, 21 3/4, hinged left. The height is going to be 36. My depth is all correct there. I'll add another row here for the adjacent the cabinet next to it. I believe that was 20 1/4. This one, these two have finished ends here, so I'll show you that as well. So my width is going to be 20 1/4, and my door hinging is going to be left, and the one beside it again, 20 1/4, 36 high. That one's also 36 high. Hinged right. So finished ends. So what we can do, instead of adding, because you're going to see this little strip here, the 6-inch piece, instead of adding a 3/4 panel like this all the way up beside the oven here, we can make these 2 cabinets have finished ends on the left and the right. That means that you're not going to see screw holes, and it's going to the material will be matching the cabinet door here, which is a really nice touch. So what we can do here is this one is going to be left of hood vent, and this one is going to be right of hood vent. And so my left end here is going to be finished, and this one is going to be finished on the right side. So if we go back up here under materials, our finished end material, that's the parameter where we control the finished ends. If you don't have finished ends, if it's all unfinished, you don't really need to worry about this parameter. Again, I'm not going to change the materials right now. We're going to change it all globally at the end as we have everything entered. Okay, I'll just quickly fill in the cabinet numbers. So that's 21, 22, and 24. 21, 22, and 24. Perfect. Okay, we've got 2 cabinets left here. We've got one above the hood. That's 14 7/8. So we'll go to all cabinets, standard. It's an open cabinet because we have a pipe probably coming out for the the hood extraction. So it's a pair door. That is a 30-inch cabinet, 30, and the height to 14 7/8. Okay. We're going to do a separate video on reveals, but this is where reveals really have a chance to shine, because we can actually adjust the door gaps around the cabinet so that we have consistent gaps. And as the hood doors, the doors adjacent to the hood fan, as they open and close, if they're adjusted correctly according to standard spacing, there's a chance that they might hit the hood fan. So with D3, we're able to customize our individual cabinet door gaps, so we can actually adjust for that. That'll be a separate video coming up, but it's a great thing to highlight in the system. Okay, that's cabinet 23. So cabinet 23, and I'll put in here hood cabinet, hood cap. Excellent. Okay, we've got one more here above the fridge. It's a 21 inches high. It's a deeper cabinet. If we look back on the plan view here, I didn't put it on the plan view. My apologies, but it is matching the pantry here. So it's a 26-inch cabinet. Okay, so we'll go here. Whoops. Wall cabinets, standard, one shelf. The width is going to be 36. That will also depend a lot on your appliance specification, so it's really critical that you review those and get a proper appliance specification from the supplier of the appliances. A lot of the times the fridge opening, say if it's a 30-inch fridge, sometimes if it's next to a wall, you're going to need to account extra room on the side. So a 30-inch fridge might not actually fit in a 30-inch opening. It's more like a 32 or even 33-inch opening. So do a lot of due diligence there with appliance specifications. Get the exact specification you need from the supplier in terms of opening width, height, depth, etc. Okay, pair of doors. It's going to be 36 wide. The height is going to be 21, and the depth is going to be 26. Perfect. And this is going to be cabinet 26, and I'm going to call this fridge cabinet. Oops. Okay, that's all the cabinets in for the order, I think. So we've gone through here. Now we need panels, fillers, toe kicks. That's the last stage here. So I'm going to save this again. We want to be saving maybe every 15 minutes or so. That way, if you get called away or your computer has a problem, you're not losing a ton of your work. So it's really best practice to try and remember to save every 15, 20 minutes maybe. I should also mention the pricing here. This is just an example account, so the pricing is not really valid. This is controlled per customer. So as you sign up, you'll be assigned a pricing tier, and your pricing will be individually controlled. All right, so the last thing here we've got to do is add some panels, ceiling fillers, and toe kicks. So the fridge panels here, 26-inch cabinet. Let's just assume this wall is really horribly crooked, and what we'll do is we're going to order like a 28-inch gable, or maybe even a 29. That's going to cover us in the eventuality that the wall and the floor are really both out of level and square. So I'll go to panels here. I'll go to tall panel. I will go to 29 inches wide. And the height, the pantry cabinet is 90 inches tall. So I'll probably say order it at 92. That just gives you enough to trim off the top, or if it gets damaged when you're moving it around the job site and one corner gets nicked, you can always chop it off. You have a little bit more room there to do what you need to do. We're going to need a panel each side of the fridge and a panel each side of the pantry. So there's going to be 4 of those in total. So in this situation, I won't write the specific cabinet numbers, but I will say fridge and pantry panels. So now that I've added my tall panels, I need panels either side of the window here for my upper cabinets. So those are going to be here, 36 inches high. I'm going to probably order them at about 14 inches deep, which will give me about 1 inch of scribe on the back side. Okay, so we can go in here, panels and fillers, panels, wall panel. I'm going to order them at 14 inches and 36. And there's 2 of those. And maybe I'll say wall panels beside window. Perfect. That's it. Okay. The next is ceiling filler. So ceiling fillers, they come in a couple different flavors. We have a straight filler and we have an L-shaped filler. I've drawn an L-shaped filler in this demonstration, so I'll show you how to enter that. Very briefly, we don't recommend getting these all cut to size on site. Or sorry, briefly, I will say that we don't recommend ordering these cut to size. I would recommend ordering lengths of this material and cutting it to size as you need on site. So the calculation for this is fairly simple, very quick and dirty. Let's, instead of 26, I'm just going to call this 24. I'll do a lineal foot count and count up how many lineal feet I need. Then I'll divide that by 8, which is the length of the material, the standard material, and then go from there. So I'm going to need 2 here. I'm going to need 2 here, 2 there, and then that's going to cover a little bit extra width here. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then this one will be 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And this would be 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So we're going to need about 30 lineal feet of ceiling filler. Maybe I'll order a little bit extra. Okay, so under fillers here, we have a straight filler and we also have an L filler. Similar with the cabinet fillers, we've got a straight filler and L-shaped fillers. In this situation, I'll be ordering an L filler. So height across the grain and length with the grain, because it's a painted material, the grain direction doesn't matter, but length is going to go across this way. So with grain here, it'll be 96. And the height, the minimum is 6 inches. But again, we want to make sure we have enough room to chop things off and scribe. So I'm going to order it at 7 inches. Call this ceiling filler. And if we needed 30 lineal feet, we're going to need 4, maybe 5 to be on the safe side. So I'll just order 5. Okay, that's going to cover all of our ceiling filler. And the last thing we need to do is toe kicks. So we'll enter the toe kick, 2 separate toe kicks in the separate rooms, because we want to make sure that the material gets changed correctly when we finalize our materials. So a white toe kick, the only place I'm going to need a white toe kick is underneath the pantry. So we'll go to panels and fillers, and then it's in panels at the bottom here, toe kick, but it's also just because it's so common, we put it in here in the before you go into the panel subcategory. So add toe kick panel here. All the toe kick panels have to be ordered separately. For the toe kicks, the minimum length is 48, so we just need 1 of those for the pantry. Then what I'll do is I'll go back up to my order here, and I'll minimize this, and I'll maximize this, which is the kitchen base. I'll go to the bottom here, and we'll add that toe kick panel. How many we're going to need here? So we've got 3 feet. Call it 1 length here, so 1 8-foot piece here. And also, if you want returns on the oven, I'd also recommend another 8-foot piece here and 1 more for the island. So we need 3 of those at 96 inches. The default is 6 or 8 for the toe kick. The reason we select 6 inches is because you have enough room to really scribe to a heart's content there. If the floor is really off, you can adjust that. Or you can rip this down if you say needed a 4-inch toe kick or 4.5-inch toe kick. If you cut it off a 6-inch piece, that still leaves you with a reasonable amount of material. So if you have a touch-up on site or someone missed a filler when they're ordering, you still have enough to make it work. So 6 inches is a good size for us for the production equipment. So that's what we've standardized on. All right, so the next thing we can do here is we've entered everything. So we have the full kitchen all entered into the system. But now we can adjust the materials. We can also duplicate the order for cost comparison. So first things first, we're going to look at the total order and see what the most common material is. In this case, the doors are going to be painted material. That's probably the most common. So we'll adjust the order level settings to be a painted shaker. And then we'll go back through and we'll go into that other folder, other room that we had there, and adjust that to be the material that we want. So we'll go to order level settings. First, let's just have a quick look at this. So our materials for our doors, they're flat slab, sheer beauty melamine. So if I go to this, order level settings. Now, one of the really important concepts with this order level setting is it's an all or nothing situation. So if you've gone through and you've made like an open cabinet or unique something with unique materials, when you do submit, when you apply to current products, that's going to wipe out those changes. So you definitely want to make notes for yourself. I like to just keep a little pad and paper by my keyboard, and if I'm making a open cabinet or something custom like that, I'll just jot that down so I remember right before I save the final time to change that again. So the Antero drawers are going to be what we're using now with white melamine, so that's all good. We're going to change our finished end material. Scroll down here. These are all of our different colors. I'm just going to select pleasant white for our finishes. Our door types are going to be square shaker throughout. Pleasant white for all of the materials here. Again, I'm not scrolling through the list. I'm actually typing PL, which takes me to pleasant white. So, component material is all your panels and fillers that we just added. Now I can apply only to future products. So now at this point, if I hit apply only to future products, anything that I add to this order, they're going to take that these materials. But I want to apply that to the current products. So I'm going to hit that. And it's going to think for a minute. And all changes have been applied successfully. So now when I look at my cabinet here, this was the first one on the list. It says it's a square shaker in a pleasant white. If I scroll to the bottom of the list, I can see all of my panels are pleasant white. Perfect. I like to save at this stage. That, save. And once that's saved, I'll see order changes saved here. Perfect. So we know that the kitchen base and the island, they are going to have different materials. So I can go here to folder level settings, and I can see the same menu here. We can use whatever material we want. In this case, the default is what I want. I want sheer beauty for the lower cabinets and in a flat slab. So all I'm going to do is say apply to current folder. I just noticed something. So when you have your default settings here, you need to change one thing. Otherwise, this button will be grayed out. So I just went to none and then back to flat slab, and the button turned blue again. So that's what I want to do there. I'm going to hit apply to current folder, and it's going to change this back. So now I have my room with all of my tall cabinets that are square shaker in pleasant white painted. And I've got my island and my perimeter, which is a flat slab sheer beauty. Okay, I'm going to save this. Yep, save this. And that's really the basics of how to enter an order. I hope that helps give you a solid overview of the system. In about 30 minutes, we were able to enter a fully custom kitchen, modify all of our materials to meet our customers' exact specifications, and get pricing in real time. I hope you enjoy getting to know it as you work through upcoming projects. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below or reach us at info@d3customcabinets.com. If you like this content, please subscribe to get notifications on future videos. Thanks very much.